everybody? Welcome to the podcast. It is a crazy Nintendo Direct extravaganza podcast episode number 204 of your JRPG report. It's been 2 days, but it's still kind of hard to contain all the excitement that went down Wednesday evening. They announced the day before there was going to be a Nintendo Direct. They said it was about 40 minutes of games coming out. I believe they even said it was early 2022. So to be fair, I didn't expect a whole lot of things, and nothing could have been further from the truth. They literally, an E3 sized amount of JRPG announcements and happenings just from this 40-minute direct. But welcome to the podcast. There were two huge, ginormous things. Sometimes I have a hard time deciding what to talk about first on the podcast because, let's be fair, there ain't much to talk about. This week it was really, really tough, but something's got to go first. I'm going to speak just because I thought this was done. I thought the rumors that we'd even done podcast about had turned out to be unfounded, that there was no truth to be had about Chrono Cross Remastered. However, truth is sometimes stranger than fiction, and it turns out all along it was right, as Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers Edition, is a thing Square Enix announced during this direct, and it is coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC via Steam. It will be available on April the 7th. No pricing yet on that. We'll stick with the good stuff before we get into little nitpicks here at the very end of it. Here is an overview. If you do not know what we're talking about, this was the... I hesitate, as we talked about in our Sunday special, to say it was a sequel. Obviously, it was a sequel to Chrono Trigger. Just wasn't as connected as maybe some of us would have preferred. However, players will embark on an epic adventure that transcends time and space with refined illustrations from original character designer Nobuto Yuki, remastered music from acclaimed composer Yasunori Masuda, and a variety of additional features. Did you guys know this? This is the official release from Square Enix, that Chrono Cross was never released in Europe. And yes, I know we have our European friends who are like, yes, of course we knew that. As a ignorant American here, hand raised, I did not know you guys in Europe did not get Chrono Cross. That seems insane to me. Anyway, it returns as a remaster in this Radical Dreamers edition. You will follow the story of Surge, who stumbles upon another world and learns of the connection between his existence and the future of his planet. A classic time-bending tale of adventure and friendship, featuring one of the largest and most diverse casts of playable characters in any RPG. With over 40 potential party members, each character brings their own element of affinity and unique skills. Additionally, and hence the name, Radical Dreamers, sorry I can't probably do this French justice, but Le Trésor Interdit, a text-based adventure video game released for Stellaview in 1996, which forms the bedrock of the story, is included in this. That's interesting. Players can look forward to some of these exciting new features. Obviously, if you're watching the YouTube version of this, you are viewing the incredible looking trailer as I'm talking. But there are 3D models converted to high definition, brand new artwork and character redesigned by the aforementioned Nobuto Yuki, refined background music by Yasunori Masuda, switch enemy encounters on or off. Gotta love that idea. Background filter feature, battle enhancement features. Don't know quite what to make of this feature. There is an auto battle function. Maybe it comes in handy. We'll see. Italian, French, German, and Spanish localization has now been added. You can switch between the imitation pixel font and the high definition font. the inclusion of the aforementioned Radical Dreamers, never before released in the West, and players can choose between playing with the original or the updated graphics. So it's kind of hard to understand this list as I'm reading that off to you, but the 3D models in high def, the brand new artwork, background filter feature, and the pixel font. Those 4 things, you can choose what you want to do, but it's kind of an all or nothing deal, okay? So they cannot be toggled separately. It's basically say, do you want to go with this version or would you prefer the old version? That is up to you. You can play it how you want. I will add one small caveat just from personal experience. I don't know how this version is going to play out, but I do own the PS1 version of this, the digital version on PlayStation 3. So when playing it on my Vita, it looks spectacular. You can definitely see what's going on. When blown up on a TV, playing on my PS3, it was hard to play. So this might be a case where you actually want to use the new HD capabilities if you're not going to be playing in handheld mode on the Switch, per se. If you actually want to play this on a larger TV, I would recommend that. When I stretched the original version out to, I was thinking in my office, I have a 55-inch. It was blurred to the point of almost not really be able to tell where you were running to. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to decide between a version. I think the HD looks really, really good on here, and that's how I will choose to check it out and play. But yeah, like I said, I'm shocked. Not only am I shocked that this is a real thing, but them, using the Nintendo Direct kind of as that platform to come out with it, I really thought it would be kind of its own deal, that they might announce something to that effect, but they chose this platform. I'm thrilled that it's coming to Switch. I'm glad this is not kind of, just a PlayStation exclusive, so a bunch of people can finally get to enjoy this one. Here's the only, let's just put this small little negative thing out there, okay? We don't know the price. I'd love to know how much this is going to cost, being 2 months away. That'd be nice to know. It is digital only. Does that mean there won't be a physical version of it by another company? Does that mean they can't change their mind in between now and release? Of course. But first thing, and I left this part out there, but the first thing in the article is it will launch digitally on April the 7th. I know there are half this audience or half the people out there that doesn't matter to, but the other half, it matters a whole lot to. So I'm hoping maybe, obviously Limited Run has been doing this for a while, Play Asia. There's a bunch of other people that can make physical versions. And as soon as I hear something, I will let you know, but you might need to keep your own eyes and ears open on this one. And maybe it's digital, so, you don't have to worry about pre-ordering it. They're not going to run out. And maybe hold off just a little bit before making a commitment on which version you like. But hey, this is great news. It was, more than humorous that me and Jake talked about this on our Sunday special, brought this topic up, and boom, all of a sudden it came fruition. In fact, I made, a YouTube version of our conversation and posted the day before the direct. So hey, if you want to thank me and Jake for this thing happening, we will accept those things. But yeah, I am thrilled. I can't say for certain because of that physical/digital divide that I'm getting this thing day one, but absolutely I'm going to pick this thing up at some point in time and will enjoy my playthrough it once again, as I did many years ago. And if nothing else, the music alone is worth this purchase. It is phenomenal, of course, but we're going to be right there with you guys. Very excited to get back into the world of Chrono Cross. It's a thing, and we don't have to worry about if it's not a thing or not. But we've got a ton more Nintendo Direct coverage. We're going to be on Nintendo Direct for a while, so buckle up. We've got plenty more coming. So the shocking announcements didn't stop at Chrono Cross Remaster. There was another huge thing, and if I'm speaking personally, this one was a little bit more of a very happy announcement. We're getting it. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is happening for the Nintendo Switch. Publisher Nintendo and developer Monolith Soft have announced Xenoblade Chronicles 3 will launch in September. You heard that right. It is February on your calendars right now. And in less than a year, I guess it's what, 6-7 months? I don't know. It's coming. I love Nintendo is doing this. They've done this in the past. I think they've been burned on the delay problems of games in the past, and they don't want to do that anymore. We kind of knew it was coming. We knew a Xenoblade game was coming, but it was certainly not announced. This is the announcement, and it is coming this year in September. Here's an overview of the game. A vast world awaits in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the next game in the acclaimed RPG series from developer Monolith Soft. Players will step into the roles of protagonists Noah and Mio amid turmoil between the hostile nations of Kiev and Agnes. I'm sorry. 6 characters hailing from those nations, 3 from each, will take part in a grand tale with life as its central theme. Explore a new world that will connect the futures of both Chronicles 1 and 2. Again, launching exclusively for the Switch in September. So there you go. It is not a direct sequel. We're not going to get characters from either one of those two games. If you look at the game style from the trailers, although it didn't show gameplay actually, it's not that I could particularly tell. I think it was mostly just animated scenes. I would say it looks closer to 1 than 2. Also from a build standpoint of all human characters, there's 6 of them that we know about. Perhaps there's some more at some point in time, but characters, i.e. from akin to what Chronicles 1 was, as opposed to 2 with a slightly smaller cast, but all the blades to have to collect, and thus increasing the party exponentially. Here's a message from Tetsuya Takayashi from Monolith Soft. With just over 4 years since Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 1.5 years since the definitive edition of XC1, we now bring you news regarding the latest game, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. As the name indicates, this is the third installment in the series. We are currently making final adjustments to ensure we create the best possible game based on everything we learned in the past in the series. The key visual features a broken greatsword of Mechonis in the body of the Urian Titan with a gaping wound. I imagine everyone who saw the trailer was quite surprised by the final scene. What is this visual hinting at? I can't reveal that just yet. What I can tell you is that this visual was conceived of quite a time ago. More precisely, we came up with it sometime between the development end of 1 and 2. So it's not something they've added recently. They've had a timeline in there for a while. They'd say that this will be enjoyable for both players who have played part 1 and 2, and for those who are playing it for a first time. This is one of those series, while numbered, think Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest. You don't have to play the games before it. It'll, enhance your gameplay by having played those, and I would highly recommend playing. 1 is a lot easier to get a hold of than 2, but it's not going to make or break your experience. They're not, direct characters from those, although we do have hints of returning peoples. Nothing I've seen so far in 3, but we will see. The characters were designed by Masatsugu Saito, who designed the characters for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. While we can't reveal them at this time, Kyashu Megatani, so I'm horrible with those names, I apologize, created some of the game's key artwork. As you can see, familiar staff members with the Chronicles series have once again come together to create this game. The game's music was also handled by artists who contributed to the series in the past. The music in the game maintains the unique Chronicles touch while also taking on a new challenge, namely that of integrating the flute-based melody as its motif. That was something you see in the trailer. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching it as I've been speaking. Both the main characters from opposing nations, they play these flutes to honor the fallen soldiers. Kind of think of it like Yuna sending the fallen, with her sending dance. I think it's kind of what we're thinking of. And while they're opposed, nations, they also are the same. That brings them together. The flute is actually one of the key themes in the game. A variety of other elements and themes are hidden in the trailer, and we'll be revealing all the details at a time going forward. Yeah, that's it's exciting for sure. There were some screenshots to go along with that announcement trailer. Definitely, if you've not seen it or you're not watching this on YouTube, you will want to check that out. Here's a little bit more background. The world of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is called, there's a lot of vowels in there, Aeonis, and is home to two hostile nations, Kiev and Agnes. Each nation is locked in conflict against each other, and their soldiers fight with their lives on the line just to survive. It looks pretty advanced. If I had to guess, I would say chronologically it is probably the third one, but it also has more of a feel of part one with all the mechanics going on. Kiev is a nation where machine technology was developed. Its forces are composed of units consisting mainly of combat vehicles and small mobile weapons operated by people riding them. If their clothes are black and have a mech style, they're from Kiev. Agnes is a nation strong in ether and magical technology. Their forces are made up of units specialized in ether combat, and they fight with small, mobile, anonymous weapons. If they're clad in white and are proficient in ether combat, they're from Agnes. So, there you go. We did learn a little bit about those characters that were going to be in there. There will be kind of two protagonists with Noah and Mio. Of course, they're the stars of this new trailer as well. Two more characters from each nation will accompany them. Noah will be joined by his childhood friends, Lance and Euni. E-U-N-I-E. Lance will mostly act on the front lines, as his great shield can also double as while his great sword can also double as a shield. Meanwhile, Uni will focus on healing her teammates. Mia will also bring two allies with different specialties. The warrior Sina will lead the way with her physical strength and blunt weapon. Their strategic Taeon will support them from behind with his intellect and numerous drones. There are also some voice actors announced for the Japanese version. No word on the English version of that just yet, but oh man. I couldn't be any more excited. You guys know my love for Xenoblade Chronicles, in particular Part 2, how many hours I put into it. But, I mean, going back to Xenosaga and Xenogears, this has been a long-running series that I've loved for a long time. And I'm just thrilled to see this thing keep on going. It looks fantastic on the Switch. It is definitely one of those games that gets every bit out of that system and makes it work somehow. There was definitely some pop-up issues and texture issues at times in the games, but it's kind of be expected. That's poor little Switch is doing all that it can, but cannot wait until September. It's going to be a good time, and still gives you time to check out Part 1 if you can find it, Part 2, before this one finally makes its way out for the Nintendo Switch. I probably had enough content for a podcast even without all this direct stuff, but it's going to be a long one. We still got a ways to go. On a side quick note, before I forget to mention, obviously you're listening to this if the day it released is on a Friday. Seems like we've kind of had to do this a lot lately, where things have been so hectic during the week that I have to push it back till Friday anyway. So I think what we're going to do, and I know you guys are used to Thursday, I apologize, but I think it's just going to work out better if let's just go ahead and wait till Fridays. There's been more than once that I've had to push it back. There's also been more than once that things have come out either Thursday night or Friday after we release the podcast. And then you're kind of waiting a week to hear about it. So we're going to give and we're going to take. That's just the way it's going to be. But I think we'll just push it back to Fridays and see how that works out. Maybe get it early. Who knows? But I think that's what we're going to do from this point going forward. Back to the direct. For the longest time, there were some other ways, but mostly, if you wanted to play Earthbound, there was one real way to do it. Find a working Super Nintendo and your physical copy of the game. Obviously, there were other ways, less than legal ways, or not Nintendo would approve of. Let's put it that way. That changed that day and has changed because Earthbound as well as Earthbound Beginnings are now available through Nintendo Switch Online. That's right. If you're already paying the $20 a year to play those Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, you just had a classic add to it. I've not played Beginnings. I'm assuming it's a classic as well, but Earthbound. You can go play it right now if you want to. Drop everything, go fire up Earthbound. It's really funny because in the trailer, it kind of assumes that most people don't know who Ness is. And for the longest time, I'm sure people who played Super Smash Brothers saw this character and just thought he was a Nintendo mascot of sorts. Had no idea where he came from, why he's holding a baseball bat. And it plays into that and says, hey, do you want to learn about Annette and where Ness comes from and what his whole story is? Now you can, along with his friends, join Ness, Paula, Jeff, and Pooh, of course, in their quest to fulfill an age-old prophecy and stop the Wickus, I guess, and maybe catch a Runaway 5 concert along the way in this fan-favorite Super Nintendo Entertainment System classic Earthbound. In addition, you can travel back to the year 1980X for Earthbound Beginnings, a localized version of the original Famicom Mother game. A very cool trailer was with that as well. Of course, in Japan, it's known as Mother 1 and 2. This is Nintendo Online, so there's not been any enhancements. It definitely looks and plays like a Super Nintendo game. But hey, like I said, if you're already paying $20 for it, this is going to be by far the cheapest and easiest way to play Earthbound. Very excited as well. Somebody else who was very excited about it is Mother series creator Shigesatsu Itoi. He was fired up about it, even showed him a Twitter screen of him with Earthbound over his shoulder, finally getting to check it out. I think his quote was, he can actually make friends with, he can be friends with players young enough to be his great-grandchildren and can enjoy his life work. So he was very excited about it. Nintendo even went so far as to release a piece of gaming history and has recreated the Earthbound Player's Guide, all 135 pages. That's, if you're watching this on YouTube or the video version on Spotify, you're seeing my, I would say, pristine copy of it. There's definitely a splotch or two of damage. I've long since lost the scratch and sniff cards. I'm sure they didn't smell anyway. They're things are old, but you can even check out the original Player's Guide, which quite helpful. There's some spots where you can definitely get along and using that, but you got to be excited about Earthbound finally coming out. An all-time JRPG classic has made its way to Nintendo Online. One of the other quickly One of the other things from the Nintendo Direct was a new trailer for Triangle Strategy. They called this the final trailer. We'll see. As it is due out for Switch on March the 4th worldwide. That still gives them some time to put out more trailers, but hey, it looks like a final trailer. It's about 4 minutes long, all in English, and extremely well done. This game looks deep in its lore. There's going to be a ton of characters in there, a huge story going on. But more perhaps importantly is if you're not sure about this game, maybe you're like myself. You've struggled with strategy games in the past or didn't particularly care for this or that version of it. Try it for yourself. There's been a demo out for it before. They've made some adjustments. There is now a demo on the eShop that you can download, and you can play it from Chapter 1 until the end of Chapter 3. So I'm not sure how much time that implies, if there's tons of chapters in the actual game, but that sounds like a pretty good chunk of gaming to check out. And it won't all be for naught, as you can then transfer your save data to the final game once purchased. So yeah, go and check that out right now. Triangle Strategy, again, is due out for the Nintendo Switch on March the 4th worldwide. While not a JRPG, and probably not the announcement that Fire Emblem longtime players were looking for, there is a new Fire Emblem game coming this year. It's going to be Fire Emblem Warriors. Yeah, so, I mean, if you're fans of those games, more power to you. You just got another game coming to you, but I'm guessing that most Fire Emblem people were hoping for another strategy RPG game. This one is definitely made with Omega Force and is going to be in the Warriors line. It's called Three Hopes. It uses the characters, at least the main characters, from Three Houses, and will launch on June the 24th for the Switch. Quick review saying, I'm sure they got these names all wrong, but Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude, and other Fire Emblem Three Houses characters return to put their combat expertise on display as you revisit a war-torn Fatland. Unleash devastating combos and striking special moves in an action-packed, real-time combat. You can purchase the digital version of the game to receive regular visits from a friendly messenger isle outside your personal quarters. It'll gift you owl feathers that can be used to boost your support level with other characters. So, like I said, maybe not the news you were looking, but it's the news that you got. So, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Be happy about it, but maybe that means there is one coming at a later date and time. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp will launch for the Nintendo Switch on April the 8th. Publisher Nintendo and developer WayForward announced. This is a remake of the GBA games, as you may be able to hear the dogs barking outside. Sorry about that. Command an army in strategic turn-based combat as a tactical advisor for the Orange Star Army. Your expertise is needed as you move land, air, and naval units across the battlefield. Take down enemy squads and capture towns and bases to secure victory and keep the peace. Keep an eye on game-changing terrain and weather as you lead a variety of units across multiple maps. This remake features 2 campaigns that cover the events of Advance Wars 1 and 2, Black Hole Rising. So, yeah, that one's coming to the Switch. There was a new trailer with that. Of course, I mean, it's the Direct. You got to have a new trailer. Otherwise, I don't even know what you're showing. We've got a few more things from the Direct still to cover on this episode of 204 of the JRPG Report. 2 final announcements from the Direct, and then we'll get to the rest of the news of the week. This was a surprise announcement, and a series I was not really aware of. I think I've heard the anime, but Live Alive? Is that how you say it? Or Live Alive? Live Alive? Live Alive? Square Enix has announced an HD 2D remake of the September 1994 released Super Famicom title Live Alive for Switch. It will be available both physically and digitally on July the 22nd of 2022 worldwide. Nintendo will publish the game in the West. They look like they did a really good job making this into HD 2D. I really like the look of it. Here's an overview of the game previously unreleased outside Japan. The RPG game Live Alive is releasing on the Nintendo Switch in HD 2D style. 7 different stories featuring different protagonists, time periods, and gameplay styles await. In the Wild West, a wanderer with a bounty on his head fights for his life. In the twilight of Edo, Japan, a shinobi undertakes a secret mission. Experience these tales in any order that you choose. The adventures is yours to control. What other stories will you uncover on the horizon? I watched the trailer for this one, and it looks very, very cool. I want to say it's kind of like a saga frontier type feel to it and look, while getting to choose any order that you want to with the different time periods. I mean, you got a caveman on there in prehistoric times, like you've got feudal Japan on there, you've got modern day, and then you've got 2, I think, in the future. Maybe the one is present day. It was supposed to be in the future, now it's present day. It's been so long since it came out. But I love it. Like, we knew when this HD 2D look started, they're like, hey, this has some potential. We got new games in it with Octopath. We've got the remake coming of Dragon Quest III, but this may be another chance. Like those Super Nintendo games getting remade in this HD 2D format, the sky is the limit for remaking these games in this new fashion. And they're beloved. Why would they not? Square Enix is making physical copies of this game. They anticipate it will do so well. But we will have to see how it does and if it translates into even more. While I mention this, one game we're not going to talk about today, Dragon Quest III HD 2D. That game was not mentioned, and it's odd that it wasn't, obviously because we're hoping that it comes out this year, but it's odd because the day of the Nintendo Direct, February the 9th, was, I forget how many years it's been, but it was the exact release date 30 years ago, how many years it was, but the exact date that it came out in Japan originally. So that felt like would have been a perfect time to have an announcement. It didn't happen. They're perhaps not ready to commit to it actually coming out this year, where the Direct was actual games coming out. Xenoblade coming out in September was probably the the longer stretch of it, because it was supposed to be more in the early 2022. But there you go. We'll see how many more games come out in this fashion, but definitely good. Another remaster. This is of PlayStation titles. Forever Entertainment has announced Front Mission 1 and 2 remake for the Switch. Front Mission first remake will launch this summer, followed by the sequel at a later date. Both will support English, Chinese, Japanese, French, Spanish, Italian, German, Portuguese, and Polish options. So if you played these games back in the day, you get to play them all over again. Key features: Front Mission comes back as a remake. The game features a modern look with improved controls. The legendary soundtrack, fully orchestrated. There's an announcement trailer for it. It looks pretty cool. That's the type of a series I never got into, but I know that's going to be a lot of people are going to be really excited for that. Come this summer. As far as I can tell, this is exclusive for the Switch. That's all that's announced for. We'll see when that second one comes out, and if it does make its way over to other systems or not. 35 minutes on the counter just glancing at it. All Nintendo Direct stuff. I spoke for nearly as long as the event went on for, but just unbelievable amount of content. And these directs are blowing it out of the water. They are doing a fantastic job. Unfortunately, it's starting to lead to the point where these things are so good and spaced out so well, it's diminishing the luster on shows, at least as far as making an announcement goes. I feel like there's still a place for things like E3 and Tokyo Game Show, but maybe not to make these announcements and platforms as online. It's all online anyway. So, I don't know, but it certainly was a welcome day and a exciting time to be a gamer with all this great content coming out, and it's gonna hurt your wallet. You know it's coming, but it was a lot of fun, and everyone rejoiced. And those were just the JRPG announcements. There were other game announcements as well to get everybody excited, but it definitely made a lot of us very happy. Nintendo. That's one reason why I've been around since day one with Nintendo. They have continued to support gamers and old JRPG players like us. They've never let go, and I really hope they never do. Pre-Nintendo Direct, there were two stories that I was strongly considering leading the podcast with. We've been talking for a while about Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster. It's supposed to come out in February. We still didn't have a release date for it. It's February. Today is February the 11th, and it's kind of like, hey, we kind of need a release date here. That would be great. And it appears that date is going to be February the 23rd. The game will appear on PC and mobile devices, and I had a price for it, but it has since been, it's gone, but it's coming. We knew it was coming for a while. It looks pretty good, and we will have to see what that price is. It's 20% off, whatever it is. So there, there you go. Oh, I guess I could hit the link on there and find. All right, so normally it is $17.99, so you can get it for $14.39 if you get it with that pre-February 23rd pricing. That's 11 days from now to go and check it out if you like to get on Steam or mobile devices. That is up to you. Finally got a release date. That's nice. The other big news, and this also affects smartphones, but this, a lot like Bravely Default, Brilliant Lights, is a smartphone game that's not like all the rest of them. This is Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent. This has been out in Japan for a while, but it's finally coming to the West. October of 2020, a while ago in Japan. But they have announced that the game is coming to iOS and Android devices in North America and Europe in 2022. Didn't really have a smaller window, though, just that it is in fact coming this year. There will be a closed beta for the English version held in the spring of this year, with more details to come later this month. They launched a Facebook page for it as well. This game, like I said, kind of just like Bravely Default, Brilliant Lights, emulates the actual game. Does its best to recreate a mobile version for them, and is another game. I mean, I don't know what the connections are to Octopath Traveler. I don't know Japanese, and there's not been a ton about this game, but it is more of the same, at least from the look of it and the play of it. And I think we're going to be happy to get that when it finally does come out sometime this year. Japanese outlets have gone live with a pre-launch preview of Atelier Sophie II, The Alchemist of the Mysterious Dream, including some new gameplay footage for it and screenshots. You can check out that gameplay if you follow the links on our social channels, either on Facebook or Twitter. Keep in mind this is the Japanese version of it, so we'll get to have the English subtitles. It's not dubbed in English anyway, so you have to at least put up with the Japanese voices no matter what version of it that you include. The game is due out worldwide for PS4, Switch, and PC via Steam on February the 25th. I also posted on social media channels and I was going to say exclusive, but a lengthy interview with series producer Gunzo Hoisai about the game's development, where it stands in the timeline, some of the improvements that were made from the original, and perhaps even about the series going forward. Again, give us a like or follow on Facebook and Twitter. You'll have access to that information. Surprisingly not at the Nintendo Direct. Maybe they just didn't have room for it, and it's been featured, I guess, plenty of times before. Rune Factory 5. Obviously not a Nintendo Switch exclusive, with it coming to PlayStation. No, it is a Switch exclusive. I almost misspoke. Misspoke there, but yeah, I guess they've showed it enough. But this game is coming out March 22nd in North America and March the 25th in Europe. Prior to the Switch Direct, Nintendo Direct, I'm sorry, I don't know why it's going there. 2 days before that, Rune Factory 5 puts out its Bachelors and Bachelorettes trailers. So this is 2 separate trailers and showing the 6 eligible Bachelors and Bachelorettes that you can potentially court in the upcoming game. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. Maybe since there was 2 and they were kind of long trailers that they didn't include it, but I'm pretty shocked about that. I gotta be honest with you. But yeah, you can, if you'd like to check those out on your own, just go head over to our socials and you can get the link to check that out in full. It was also announced that if you pre-order it digitally, you'll get to opt in to get a DLC item, which is being said the Holy Knight and Bibliophile swimsuit set plus New Ranger Care Package item pack. This includes cosmetic costumes for the characters and jumpstart items. This is only for free who order via the eShop. However, it will be sold eventually after the launch if you don't pick it up with this pre-order. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. Also pretty interesting, formerly a Nintendo Switch exclusive, at least in the West, finally making its way to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC via Steam is Disgaea 6. I can only imagine there was some sort of exclusive window bought for the Switch, but it'll end up being about a year. So this summer in North America, Europe, and Australia, we will get this new complete version. To my friends at Nippon Ichi, they have announced Disgaea 6 complete. Previously, it was also not available on PS5, so this is new. That's going to be new in Japan. Disgaea 6 Complete includes all character and cosmetical downloadable content that followed the release of the original Disgaea 6 Defiance of Destiny. And this is the first Disgaea game to appear on PS5. In North America, pre-orders for the limited edition are now available for PS4 and PS5. It will go for $109.99. Include a copy of the deluxe edition of the game, hardcover art book, 2-disc soundtrack, steelbook, cloth poster, 4 art cards, and a collector's box. There you go. Been a while. We talked plenty about this game leading up to its Switch launch last summer. We questioned many times why this game was not coming to PS4. Well, it is. Just it took it a while. I will say this. I don't know if this is the screenshots for the PS5 version or not, but pretty big difference in graphical quality. as you would expect. I mean, it's no secret that this Switch is a little short on processing power. But yeah, there you go. You can at least get this one. Took it a while, but it is finally coming. There is a new update available right now for Scarlet Nexus, version 1.07. It's a free update for everybody. It will add some new content, namely a photo mode, as well as the very hard difficulty, i.e. not for me version. With the photo mode, you'll be able to take a moment while you play to set up a shot rather. The photo teasing the feature showed some of the features. You can alter the expressions of the characters in the shot. Their hoods can be put on, and you can adjust things like the camera angle or if a logo appears. So that's pretty nice. Hey, throwing it out there for free. Can't argue too much with it. There's another paid add-on. This is the Brain Eater Pack DLC 3, and it's available right now as well. It offers experiences and additional looks. In particular, there's another side story to see with episode Karen. People can learn what the OSF 2nd Regiment Commander Karen Travers went through before the events of the game. There's also the Shadow on the Recording mission and new costume sets. Not sure what the price is on that DLC, but I'm sure you know if you are interested in it. And I'm going to guess it's a similar price to the other Brain Eater packs. One postponement, it's not a long one, but in US America did say the Cruel King and the Great Hero will now launch on October 11th in Europe. Did I say March 11th? Okay. And March 15th in North America for PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. This is a delay of about 10 days, give or take, and no reason was given. Maybe just a shipping delay of some sorts. Couldn't quite get all the copies out that they needed to. But, yeah, not much. By delay standards, 10 days is hardly something to really get too upset about. We keep talking about the success that Brave the Default Brilliant Lights has had in terms of download numbers. We started with 1, it quickly up to 2 million. They're now at 4 million registered players in Japan. That's a lot. It's a lot of it's a lot of numbers, to say the least. Been doing quite well, and again, all the more reason for it to hopefully make its way over here to the West. Not a straight-up RPG, but definitely inspired by it. The handmade notebook adventure game RPG Time: The Legend of Wright will launch for Xbox Series, Xbox One, and PC on March 10th. Publisher Aniplex and developer Deskworks announced it will support English, Japanese, and simplified Chinese options. This is the one that kind of looks like a school notebook that a young person has made a simplified JRPG out of. It looks really, really cool. They say when school's out, it's RPG time. Let's play an RPG that's hand-drawn by a game-loving boy named Kenta, who drew it all on his notebook. Fun and exciting gimmicks and tricks appear every time you turn the page. A new, yet nostalgic gaming experience that has won numerous indie game awards is finally coming for your after-school entertainment. There was a new trailer that came along with it as well. You gotta at least appreciate new ideas like this, trying to do things and kind of invoke some of those memories of our childhood and how we might have felt when we first played these games many, many years ago. We'll quickly tell you that we'd reported this, it's been a while, but Eden's Zero Pocket Galaxy will appear worldwide soon. Konami announced a release date for the mobile game based on Hiro Mashita's latest ongoing manga series. It will be available on February the 24th of this year. There was a launch trailer that went out for it as well. There's 2 separate language options, Japanese and English. Other than the voice, there's no real significant difference between the 2 options. This is coming first. There's still that 3D action RPG that's supposed to be coming for consoles at a later date and Time. I just want to let you guys know about that one coming out. A curious looking game also got announced from Marvelous, and I guess it's called Loop 8, Loop, and then the number 8. It's described as a juvenile RPG for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. It will launch in 2022 in Japan. Here are some of the features of it. Loop 8 is a juvenile RPG which you live your everyday life and fight the extraordinary. Live a summer all your own while forging relationships with the people around you, while fighting calamities known as Kingai. You are the protagonist Nini, living in a countryside town while looking for humans possessed by Kenji, a threat to humanity. Forge relationships with the people around you. Train for battles against Kingai, Kegia, and enjoy your limited free time. Maybe a bit like Persona 4, something like that. If you find a human possessed by the Kingai, you will be able to enter Kusen Hiraska, a space between this world and the next, to confront the Kingai head on. Your relationships and training thus far will affect the outcome of your battle. There's also the loop feature. When you want to restart something, such as forging a relationship or dealing with them, the enemies, you can rewind time to a certain point while maintaining some of your current state. Looks interesting. Obviously don't know if this game is coming to the West or not. We will have to see on that one. Looks kind of interesting. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. I'll give you news if it's coming to the West and it's translated or not. One final story to pass along to you, and I don't know exactly what it means long term, but I can tell you what it means today. We just saw the console release of Edge of Eternity from developer Midgar Studio yesterday, and was it that day? Now, a couple days prior to that, it was announced that Nacon had acquired the studio, Nakon. Here is the release on it. Being creative and technically excellent at the same time is a challenge that is a characteristic of Midgar Studio and our trademark, their CEO said. We are very happy to be joining Nacon, who listen and understand what you're trying to achieve. With their support, we have the chance to fulfill our ambitions while retaining a lot of freedom. I believe these are both French companies, and it's kind of just, hey, get a little bit more money our way, and hopefully they'll still be able to develop games like that. I looked into it just a little bit, and while they haven't got any games like that, they have certainly put out a bunch of games, stuff I'd at least heard of before, and not JRPG or inspired by them. Maybe they're looking to expand the types of games that they create, and by acquiring Midgar Studio, maybe they can end up happening. So there you go. Just want to pass that along to you as one final note. That's going to do it. My goodness, that was a long podcast. We're getting close to 55 minutes long, the longest one we've had in a while. Thank you to Nintendo for giving us all this great content. As more information comes out about either Chrono Cross Remaster or Xenoblade Chronicles 3, of course, we'll bring that to you now on Fridays. Keep in mind, we've got our next Sunday special coming out, not this week, but the week after. After I spoke with Jake, I mentioned that I wasn't quite sure which game I was going to go with. And the first words out of his mouth, oddly enough, were not Chrono Cross, but Final Fantasy IX. And that is a great, great soundtrack. So I'm working on it. It's a long soundtrack, 3 discs long. So I kind of got to figure out if we're going to do it all. And that needs to be over 2 Sunday specials. Not quite sure. Anyway, just want to let you guys know, not this weekend, but next weekend, we'll have that out for you guys. At least 1 weekend, maybe 2. Who knows how long it goes. Anyway, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is James Fisher. This is going to do it for episode 204. We'll be back next week. Till then, get back out there and level up.